Genesis 22, 1 through 14 says, "After these things, God tested Abraham and said to him, 'Abraham,' and he said, 'Here I am.' He said, 'Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which I shall tell you.' So Abraham rose early in the morning, saddled his donkey, and took 2 of his young men with him and his son Isaac. And he cut the wood for the burnt offering, and arose and went to the place on which God had told him. On the 3rd day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place from afar. Then Abraham said to his young men, 'Stay here with the donkey. I and the boy will go over there and worship and come again to you.' And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on his son Isaac. And he took his hand the fire and the knife. So they went both of them together. And Isaac said to his father Abraham, 'My father.' And he said, 'Here I am, my son.' He said, 'Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering?' Abraham said, 'God will provide for himself the lamb for a burnt offering, my son.' So they went both of them together. When they came to the place of which God had told him, Abraham built the altar there and laid the wood in order and bound Isaac his son and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Then Abraham reached out his hand and took the knife to slaughter his son. But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, 'Abraham, Abraham.' And he said, 'Here I am.' He said, 'Do not lay your hand on the boy or do anything to him. For now I know that you fear God, seeing you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me.' And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him was a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called the name of that place, 'The Lord will provide.' As it is said to this day, 'On the mount of the Lord it shall be provided.'" This passage is the first time we see the name Jehovah Jireh, the Lord will provide. This is the name of God we are leaning into this month as we seek out to know more about God's character and the compassion and willingness he possesses to provide for his children. Jehovah Jireh works in his timing and in his will. His ways and understanding are not our own. We see what we need, but the greatest provision we could receive is not what we think we need, but to receive more of him. Join me as we learn about Jehovah Jireh, the Lord will provide. Welcome back to another month of home groups as we discuss the names of God. This month we are focusing on Jehovah Jireh, the Lord will provide. As we read in Genesis 22, and as we continue to see throughout the Old and New Testament, God is our ultimate provider. He sees and is active in supplying our every need. The underlining theme throughout all of the Bible is God, our provider. We see it here in Genesis 22, and we see it in the Gospels as God provides Jesus as our ultimate provision for salvation. God does not know how to be anything besides a good father who provides for his children. You cannot take this quality away from God and still have a complete story of who he is. When Abraham named that mountaintop Jehovah Jireh, he did so to commemorate a place of God's provision and deliverance. However, it was not a name that was meant to signify that Jehovah Jireh would only provide on that mountaintop, but it was a look into God's character, that his care and ability to meet needs would be ongoing until forevermore. Just like Abraham, so often we come to a mountaintop as he did and experience difficulty or need. We wonder how we will make it out, where God will provide the answer. But just as Abraham found the ram in the thicket, we find God's provision at just the right time. It must have been unimaginable for Abraham to think he would have to go through with sacrificing his only son. And I'm sure that many of us have found it extremely hard to show up with faith each day while waiting on the provision. But we are called to hold on to that hope that Jehovah Jireh has a ram around the corner for our situation. Psalm 34, 8-10 says, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. Oh, fear the Lord, you his saints, for those who fear him have no lack. The young lions suffer want and hunger, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing." This passage reminds us that the Lord is good and wants good for his people, but also reminds us that we must understand to stand in fear and reverence of him. Abraham had a healthy fear of the Lord. He knew that whatever God may ask of him, there was a plan and purpose behind it, even to the extent that he was not willing to withhold his greatest treasure of his son from the Lord. His faith was coupled with awe and reverence, and he was blessed because of it. If we are honest with ourselves, how often do we hold those things closest to us with a tight fist? We ask God to bring his provision and bless our lives, but we are unwilling to open our hands to allow the Lord to move and operate how he desires. It is declared in Psalm 34 that we will have no lack if we will fear and stand in awe of him. I want to live in the bountiful and abundance that God offers, and all that's required of me is to open my hands and my life to say, God, have your way. Lastly, Matthew 6:25 through 26 says, Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they are? Our heavenly Father cares and provides for the birds so much more is he willing and wanting to care and provide for his children that are created in his image. Our Jehovah Jireh sees our every move, knows our every thought, and understands our current pains. He is not a distant Lord that does not know how to empathize with his people. He is a Father who is willing to get in the dirt with us and provide us with love, care, and compassion to help us continue the race. Whatever you feel like you may be lacking today, everything is found in our Jehovah Jireh. With your home group, you will continue to discuss the character of our Jehovah Jireh, the Lord will provide, how he always moves at the right time, how we are called to respond to him with a healthy fear, and how everything we are in need of is found in him alone. Let's grow together.